Hello viewers. In the previous video, we defined what a force is. Now let us go ahead with a question. What constitutes a complete description of a force? There are certain prerequisite concepts. These concepts I have listed down in this slide. So you need to know what a force is. You need to know how to use unit vectors in Cartesian coordinate system. And ironically, you also need to have some background of resolution of a force during the discussion pertaining to the description of a force. I am sure that you have learned something about it during your 11th, 12th standard physics. So we will dwell on that and we will move ahead. So let us continue our discussion on description of a force. So let us consider a body as marked in red color here. You will be wondering why have I marked this body in amoeba shape? The simple reason for this is I am not interested in shape and size of the body. That means whenever the shape and size of the body is immaterial, I am going to draw it in an arbitrary shape. Let us say on this body at point A, there is a force P making an angle of 40 degrees with reference to the horizontal, and the magnitude of force is 10 Newton. As you are aware, force is a vector quantity and it requires magnitude and direction for its specification, but we will go into intricacies of it. So vectorially, I will represent this force P denoted in bold letter as it is vector in the following fashion. So P is equal to 10 cos 40 I minus 10 sin 40 J newtons. I and J are unit vectors in positive x and y directions as shown here. 10 cos 40 is the component of this force P in x direction as it is towards right, and x towards right is taken as positive, therefore it is positive. And minus 10 sin 40 is its y component and it is in downward direction, but y is positive upwards, therefore it is minus 10 sin 40. So vectorially, I have represented this force P in this fashion. Now let us try and ask ourselves a question. When do I say the two forces that acting on a body are equivalent? So what is the criteria for equivalence of those two forces? So I would define it in this way, in the following way. Two forces acting on a body are said to be equivalent provided they have same effect on all points of the body. So with this definition, now let us consider force Q. So this force Q is applied at point B. It has same magnitude as force P, 10 Newton. So vectorially, if I try to represent this force Q, then the vectorial representation is same as vectorial representation for force P. So as far as a mathematician is concerned, these two forces are equal. However, you will understand that these forces do produce different effects on different points on the body. For example, the effect of force P at B is going to be translation as well as rotation. To understand this effect, you can imagine the body to be pinned at B. Due to force P, that pin experiences a push in the direction of P, as well as the body will rotate about that hinge at B. Therefore, due to force P, point B will experience tendency of translation as well as rotation. But whereas due to force Q, point B will experience only the tendency of translation. So therefore, as a physicist, I cannot agree with mathematician To me, as a physicist, this force P and this force Q, though mathematically equivalent in representation, they have different effects. So what is the difference between these two forces as far as a physicist is concerned? So as you can look at, the point of application of these two forces is different. Force P acts at point A, force Q acts at point B. However, orientation of their line of action with reference to x-axis is same, that is 40 degree. So what is line of action? So if I extend these forces, up to infinity, the line on which they act, that is line of action of these forces. And the orientation of line of action means the angle that these forces make with reference to a chosen reference system. So for both these forces, the orientation of line of action is same. However, their point of application is different. And therefore, their effect on different points on body is different. Now let us consider force R as shown vectorially again. As long as its magnitude is 10, its vectorial representation will be same as vectors P bar and Q bar, or vectors P and Q written in bold script. Orientations of lines of actions of forces P, Q and R are same. Point of application of force P and R is same, but you have to understand that force P is pushing at point A and force R is pulling at point A. Therefore, the point A experiences push and pull due to P and R respectively, and therefore physically I cannot say P and R are equivalent. Therefore, we must add third descriptor of a force, that is sense. So at a point, if the force is pushing or whether it is pulling, that should also be included as a descriptor of a force as far as physicist is concerned. Therefore, let us summarize. So what is the complete description of a force? Mathematically, it is its vectorial representation. In crude sense, it is magnitude and direction. But let us be specific. For a physicist, a force will be completely described if all the following things are specified. Point number 1, magnitude in specified system of units. Point number 2, direction, that includes three things: orientation of line of action of force, point of application of force, and its sense. So magnitude in specified system of units, orientation of line of action of force, point of application, and sense. These are the descriptors of force which completely describe a force under consideration. So with this understanding of complete description of force, now let us ask this question to ourselves: what is a rigid body? And what are the descriptors of a force acting on a rigid body? Do we require all these four descriptors, or can we do with some of these descriptors if the body is rigid? So in the next lecture, in the next short video, we will try to answer these two questions. One, what is rigid body? And second, what are the descriptors of a force acting on a rigid body? With this, we will stop for today. Thank you.